Alright, hello everyone and welcome to a brand new video. In today's video, we are going to be looking over all of the new reveals from the new starter decks, mainly looking at it from a Belo Betty's perspective. Seeing, what does this change for the meta? Are we going to be able to keep up in OP-11 like the Belo Betty was able to do in Japan? Because now these starter decks, they change everything. And how much do they change everything? Is Belo Betty still able to compete? Are these cards just gonna straight up push Belo Betty out of the meta? We're gonna find that out today. So let's jump straight into the cards. All right, so first up here, we have this Luffy that is from the starter deck 26, the purple and black Luffy. It's a 6 cost 7k on play on attack. Dawn -2. If your leader is multicolored and your opponent has 5 or more Dawn on their field, your Straw Hat Crew type leader's power becomes a base power of 7,000 until your opponent's next end phase. When I first read this, I was like, oh, that could be a little bit worrying. 7k base power leader, that's pretty cool, right? That's pretty good, pretty strong. And then I realized that it's basically only good in black purple Luffy, right? Dawn -2, like every turn, right? There's only one deck that can do that comfortably, and that is black purple Luffy. So when I look at this card, I see, yes, a very strong card, but it's only for one deck, and that deck is already very favored for Belo Betty to go into. I don't think this card is going to change much. I think this card is really good. However, I think we're going to find ways around it, basically, to deal with it. Things like Black Yellow Luffy, right? That was basically a 9k leader always, was still a super favored matchup for Belo Betty, and I don't think this is going to change anything. So not as worried about this card as some people might be. Then we have Soba Mask here. If you have a Sangoro or Sanji character with 7,000 base power or more, give this character -5 cost in your hand. And then bounce everything. This is not going to be relevant, I don't think. I seriously doubt it will be. It's going to be a 2 cost that basically pseudo defends your character, right? But I don't think this is going to be that relevant, and even if it is, it's not really relevant to us. In fact, it's just another brick in their hand if they aren't able to pull off this costing here, right? So not worried about this card at all. And same goes for this Tony Chopper here. It's a blocker, sure. On play Dawn -2. Rest of the one of your opponent's Dawn cards or characters with a cost of 1 or less. Not really relevant. We don't really keep Dawn upright, so we don't care about that. And resting a character with a cost of 1 or less is rarely going to be relevant, because we basically only play 4 1-drops, right? And that is our Searcher, and that's going to be early game. Could be relevant. I doubt it. Not worried. Then we have Nico Robin here. This is literally just another turn 3 Dawn Ramper, right? That they have for Black Purple Luffy. Except this is a 2k instead of a 3 cost 5k counterless like the Zoro is. But this is a really good card. Really good card for them to be able to see that consistently ramp on 3 Dawn. However, doesn't really bother us, right, and our game plan that much. It's going to be annoying that they see it more consistently than other times, because if they can see the nuts, they can be a little bit scary. But I sincerely doubt it's going to affect our game plan too much. Same with this Frankie here. Don't think this is going to do anything at all. Dawn -2, give up 2 of your opponent's character -2,000 power during this turn. For the 8 Dawn that you're establishing that for, it's not going to really be relevant in the long run against something like Belo Betty. It's a little bit too expensive, and honestly, hopefully they do run it, because it's another brick in their hand. Now we're moving on to the Blackbeard cards here, and these are the ones coming in Starter Deck 27, and Blackbeard cards are some of the cards people were more worried about, because Blackbeard is becoming more and more of a difficult matchup the more these Blackbeard players evolve and start to know the Belo Betty deck and start to realize our weaknesses and how to tech against us and all that. And so these reveals were very important. We'll jump into them and see how much they affect our actual game plan. Starting with Avalo Pizarro here, activate main once per turn. You can rest one of your full alert cards if your leader has the Blackbeard Pirates type. This character gains plus 4,000 power during this turn, and then on KO, draw 1 card. This is kind of fire. This is basically a 1-drop 5k power, which is insane, right? Is it gonna affect Belo Betty? Maybe. There is a chance that like if they establish like a couple of these, right, then like that could be a little bit scary because they can basically boost it for 1 Dawn, right? Like realistically, if they have 2 of these out, they can rest their full lead with one of them, and then they can play out another one, activate main again with the other Avalo, and then keep doing that. So if they have like there's ways where this can be very threatening, very fast if you don't pay enough attention. Don't know if it's gonna be run, honestly, but I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. It's just another thing to be aware of when you see it on board, but it's not gonna surprise you since it's not a rush, right? But just another card to keep in mind when playing against Blackbeard, so you don't do anything stupid and misplay and accidentally get pushed lethal when you don't expect it. Then we have Katarina Devon here. Activate main. You may trash this character. If your leader has the Blackbeard Pirates, give up to one of your opponent's characters -1 cost during this turn. On KO, draw a card. I mean, this is just another utility 2k, right? It's basically a shittier version of Stronger, right? But it's a 2k with utility that is searchable, and it does have that on KO, draw 1 card. Not a great card, but a searchable 2k. Not going to change anything for us. And then we're getting into the super rare here, Kusan. It's a 6-cost 6k blocker. On KO, play up to 1 Blackbeard Pirates type character card with a cost of 5 or less from your trash rested. This could be very interesting. Of course, blockers are very shitty for us, but if they're using this on 6, then they're not using Liberation, right? And I can't complain about that. Them being able to like keep bodies on board doesn't matter that much. Like, yes, it can be annoying. And when I first read this card, I was like, oh, that's kind of powerful, right? But realistically, like if they block too early, we just swing into the rested body afterwards, and then they have nothing. And if they block at the right time, they're still just left with 1 body. That realistically is only going to be 1 swing. It's a big investment for them to play out this card in our matchup when they could be playing Liberation. So I don't think this is going to impact us that much. Again, it's another blocker that they have that they can drop before 10 Dawn, which could be annoying, but again, don't think it's going to be relevant. But of course, I think about this when you're playing against Blackbeard, that they could like cheat out a Katarina Devon or something off of this, and then they're coming at you with banish or double attack the next turn, just so you are ready for things like that. Then we have Sun 1 Wolf. If your leader has the Blackbeard Pirate type, this character gets blocker and +1 cost for every 4 cards in your trash. On play, trash 1 card from your hand. Okay, so this is nothing. This is literally just another blocker, right? We're not cost-based our removal, right? So we don't care about that. And like, yeah, it's just a 4-cost 6k blocker, basically. And that's not going to impact. I don't think this is a run, actually, if I'm being honest. Even if it is just a 4-cost 6k blocker, it's fucking Lindbergh fodder. If you just use a reducer and Lindbergh it's going to be fodder, we're all good. And then we have Teach here, which is super interesting. Activate main, you may rest this character, KO up to 1 character with a cost of 3 or less. This is literally Jack, but without drawing and discarding, right? But it has this additional effect. On KO, add up to 1 black card from your trash to your hand. The interesting part about this is that this is not limited at all except to color, right? You can pick up any card. You can pick up an event, you can pick up a stage, you can pick up a character. You can pick up literally any card as long as it's black. And it's not even cost-based either. Like, it could be a 10-cost Blackbeard, it could be like a fucking 1-cost, it could be anything. So this is pretty interesting. However, I do believe that there is a world where we just leave this standing and it doesn't affect us that much. And if we don't, we just play like we play into Jack. We just reduce it once and then swing into it, and it shouldn't be too much of a problem. It's basically just Jack, but instead of drawing and discarding, he basically draws 1, right? Shouldn't affect us too much. It's frankly, it's another brick that they run. I don't think I'm worried about this. Again, if they play this, they're not playing Liberation, right? Which is my happiest days if they don't play Liberation. All right, moving into the red support here for Shanks. This one is pretty interesting. It's a 9 cost 10k. This card has -3 cost in your hand if your opponent has a character with an original power of 8,000 power or more. And then on play, if your leader has the red hair pirate type or is Uta, your leader gains plus 2,000 power until the end of your opponent's next end phase. So it's another 7k base kind of leader, right? But if you look at this first thing here, right? This card has -3 cost in your hand if your opponent has a character with an original power of 8,000 power or more. That never happens against Belo Betty. We literally just don't have characters that have 8,000 power or more. The only one we have is Dragon, and you frankly shouldn't be running Dragon. If you're still running Dragon, not good, not good. So this part is completely irrelevant, right? This is never gonna be a 6 cost. On the other hand, this here is not the worst thing in the world, but the logic here, right, is if you're up against Shanks and they're hitting 9 Dawn, would you rather your opponent plays a 9 cost 10k that gives his leader plus 2,000 power, or would you rather they play a Rayleigh and like remove your entire board? The answer is pretty clear. I would much rather they play this Shanks here than Rayleigh. This is not a problem. And if they are running this because like maybe this part is really good in certain other matchups, right? Fuck yeah, that's another brick that Shanks run. They run so many bricks already. If they run this card, we're doing great. We're doing so golden. So I'm not worried about this at all. I was worried that Shanks might get like another copy of Lucky Roo. Fuck do I know. But he didn't. This is nothing. We're big chilling. Then we got this Luffy here. Activate main, you may rest 1 Dawn and this character, give it up to one of your opponents -1,000 power for a turn. This is just a bad card, not worried. And here we have the last of the reveals from the Shanks starter deck here. This is Uta, is a 6 cost 4k 2,000 counter. If you have a character with 10,000 power or more, give this card -4 cost in your hand, right? And it's a blocker. So basically it's a 2 cost 4k 2k blocker if they have a big guy out. Doesn't really affect us at all, honestly. If they're playing a big guy, they're not playing this in the same turn. And, you know, this is just infinitely worse than like Lucky Roo or the... What's that other one? The Baccarat, right? Like those I hate playing against. But this is just a blocker. It really is not that deep. Then we have Ben Beckman here. It's a 4 cost 5k. You may trash 1 card from your hand. If your leader has the red hair pirate type, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 4,000 base power or less. Again, could be relevant, but it doesn't really look relevant to me. Like most of our important things are 5Ks, and it's going by base power, so you can't like reduce and then pop. And frankly, on play trash a card, and then leader locked and KO just 4K or less. It seems very expensive for what it does. I don't think this card is going to be run, but if it is good for us, it's not good into Belo Betty. Now we have Yasop here. 1 cost 1k counter. Activate main once per turn. Give up to 1 rested Dawn card to your leader or one of your characters. We've seen this card printed so many times before. This is just Nami or even the promo Koala. It's nothing. This means this is not going to be run, because if it would have been, it would have already been ran in the form of Nami or Koala. So I doubt this is going to be run just because it's now searchable. Not a problem. All right, moving into the Bonnie starter deck now. Starter deck 24. We have this Law and Beppo, which I wanted to make an entire video about because I play Carrot. But unfortunately, I'm not going to do that. Not make an entire video on one card, at least not until it drops on the sim. But for now, how does this card affect Belo Betty? It's a 10 cost 11k Minx Supernova Heart Pirates. On play, rest up to one of your opponent's characters. It will not become active in your opponent's next refresh phase. Then, if your opponent has 2 or more rested characters, your leader gains plus 2,000 power until the end of your opponent's next end phase. Okay, so the way you gotta see it right is that if you're playing up against Bonnie and they drop this, it's basically a worse Doflamingo, right? Like, yeah, it stuns 1 thing instead of 3, right? Which is worse than Doflamingo. But then most of the time, basically, right? Most of the time, your leader is going to gain plus 2,000 power. And honestly, plus 2000 power is worse than 2 swings, at least from a Belo Betty perspective, right? If you're running this in anything other than Bonnie, like if Carrot becomes relevant, uh, then, you know, Carrot is already a problem for Belo Betty, but this card makes Carrot more of a problem. But realistically, Bonnie's the deck that you're supposed to be scared of going into tournaments, right? The Carrot's not really play that much. And if you're playing against Carrot, you're already losing that anyways. But Bonnie, this shouldn't really affect us too much. Like I said, I'd much rather see this than a 10 cost Flamingo. And if they're running this, that's even more bricks again. Bonnie is already super bricky. Don't think this is going to be played in Bonnie. And if it is, good for Belo Betty. Then we have this X-Ray here. On play, if your leader has the Supernova type, rest up to one of your opponent's cost 5 or lower characters. Then at the end of this turn, restand 1 Dawn. This is just a searchable 2k, if I'm being honest. Like, yeah, it has utility, but the utility is not that relevant. It's good to keep in mind that it can rest a 5 cost whenever the fuck it wants, especially if you try blockering up or something. But realistically, it's just a utility 2k, not too worried about this. Then we're moving into the blue stuff here. We got a buggy here. 4 cost 1k power. Counter 1000. Activate mate. You may discard 1 card and send this character to the trash. If your leader is buggy, play up to 1 cost 6 or lower cross skill type character card from your hand. This is pretty damn good. I think this is pretty similar to the promo Mihawk, right? Like it's a way to play 5 costs or 6 costs before your curve, which is like Buggy's whole thing, right? So this is pretty good, being able to get your 10 cost Buggy live like earlier. However, doesn't really impact Belo Betty specifically, since you're now not, like, you're playing out a thing, but it's not promo Buggy, which means I don't really care what you're playing. Like, yeah, it's a good card, could affect us, but realistically, that matchup is already fucking doomed, and you know, if we are able to push through, this card is not gonna make difference if we can or not. I don't think. It's a pretty good card though. Then we have Elvida here, 4 cost 5k. If you have 2 or more characters with an original cost of 5 or more, this character gets cost +1. On play, if leader is buggy, draw 3, discard 2. This is a good hand filter that is also a 5 cost pseudo 4 cost, right? Decent, doesn't affect us at all. Then we have Yamato here, alright. Yamato is fucking just a searcher. This does nothing. Like, it's a searcher that can swing, but like realistically, it could have just, it's like a 1 cost 3k searcher, basically, right? Pseudo. So it's a good swinger, but it's realistically not going to do anything against us. It's just a searcher. Izo here, this is interesting. It's basically Onami, right? It's on place, gives something banish. Actually, just gives the leader banish. But with 2 Dawn attached, it can become a blocker. But I don't think that's going to be very relevant. Again, it's a blocker, sure, but it's not going to be that relevant, I don't think. And then we have some more buggy cards to go over here. 8 cost 7k Crocodile Mihawk. On play, draw 2, trash 1. Then play a 4 cost from your hand. Once per turn, if your cross skill type character would be removed from the field by your opponent's effect, you may trash 1 card from your hand instead. You see, this is the real problem. This card literally says, hey, I'm going to make it like twice as hard for you to remove my promo buggy. And if we can't remove the promo buggy, we are in a bad spot. Like, that matchup is really difficult already. If they literally go like, oh, on 5 Dawn, I'm going to establish a promo buggy, and then on 7 Dawn, I'm going to establish this Mihawk here. All of a sudden, we are in a bad spot, right? Because first of all, they've established 4 characters. And second of all, that promo buggy now needs to be popped twice. Which, honestly, it changes a little bit here, depending on what type of cards you're running. If you're running something like Divine Departure to deal with buggies, then you can actually like pop this first and then just pop the promo. In which case, that's like your entire turn, right? But you're getting rid of 2 bodies. But realistically, I don't think that's the best play. I think the best option is to run, like, get double reducers and then a Kuma on there. Luckily, with this, right, is that like if you try to pop the you double reduce the promo, and then you pop it with a Kuma. This thing triggers, and the power reduction is still left on the promo, right? So you can just drop another Kuma. So basically, instead of asking you for 3 cards, like 2 reducers and a Kuma, it's asking you for 4 cards. It's asking for that additional Kuma. So it's really bad because it's an already unfavored matchup, but it's not the end of the world. You just need to see a little bit more of the nuts than you already would need to see in this matchup. Uh, but realistically, it's not the end of the world, but it is going to be difficult. And if you're expecting buggies in a major tournament, I highly suggest you go up into 4 Kuma, 4 Koala, and probably a couple cups of Race Max as well, honestly. Just because that is just strong, right? It's something you will need for this matchup if you want to win it. And then we have Kabaji, which frankly is just a searchable 2k. It really doesn't do much. It's like a 6k blocker, but who gives a fuck? And then we have Moji here, which again is just a fucking blocker, but it's instead of being a 6k blocker, it's on KO, draw a card. But yeah, those are just 2 searchable 2ks. Doesn't really change anything. It's mainly this guy that is the problem, right? Alright, that is going to be it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed, and like I said, I mean, I don't necessarily think this is going to damage us too much. I think it's looking pretty good for Belo Betty right now. Only Buggy really being a problem. But Buggy we can work past. Like, we can work around that shit. Especially because Buggy doesn't really do anything against Blue-Purple Luffy, which means, like, you're going to be scared of being Buggy to a major tournament, right? And therefore, Blue-Purple Luffy sees more play, and therefore Belo Betty becomes stronger. So we're big chilling. It's, like I said, just Buggy. Everything else is so fine. The support for Blackbeard and Shanks, not a problem at all. Same for Bonnie. We are big chilling. We're eating good in OP-11, so make sure you got your Belo Betty deck built and ready to go, especially if you're participating in any major tournaments this season. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.